Yeah, so on that one, let's assume as we were talking about in this session, we were talking about the BMC. Now, the BMC, the choice, is either let's assume the person chose the vendor and the formal market, okay, and assuming that the area has maybe two types of market. Now, when now designing a questionnaire, he said he actually say what is the choice of your market. So question A, vendor, muntu apange tick. Question B, apange formal market, muntu apange tick. And the third part, maybe we should talk of kuti number 3 pakhale kuti domestic, tingolemba kuti domestic just for the sake of argument, and then something like that. Ndiye munapangano pange kuti apange kuti iyi akapanga chonchi ikhale 1, iyi ikhale 2, iyi ikhale 3, and munthu chamukumulola kuti apange fill which ones are actually the maybe one method which they actually use quite a lot. If that is the case, then when coding it, we are going to have like a domestic market, we are going to have a formal market, we are going to have vendor market as 3 variables. So that whatever, if akasankha whatever method, as color 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, depending on which one has used. So when it is like this, it means that each one of the variable is a binary. Because it is a binary, we can handle them from a binary perspective. That's the most important point that we can be able to take note of. Komano akanena kuti which type of market, then ungokhala kuti market category azisankha imodzi out of this, ndi asankha iyi, akasankha iyi atenge 1, akasankha iyi ikhale 2, akasankha iyi ikhale 3. Choncho ndekuti tikakhala muchitigozo nkati market channel ndeti ma answer akakhala 1, 2, 3. Akakhala like this, it means that we have combined them. If we have combined, in this case ndekuti tikhala ndi a dependent variable which has 3 categories. Now these 3 categories, we call this one as multinomial. We call that one as multinomial. Because it is a multinomial, life becomes very easy to actually code, because you can actually go by that particular process. But most of the time, at an undergraduate level, we can just choose 1 or 2 methods and then categorize them to call it like this, so that it is in a binary form. And that binary, when you choose it, it means that you should be thinking of going and do what is called binary analysis. So you should be able to look at binary analysis. It means that at its parametric level, you can be talking of chi-square test, and at its multivariate level, you can be talking of probit or logit regression, which you learn in econometrics. So that is actually how we actually can be able to classify them and put things into context, rather than just doing things for the sake of doing things. That's why when we are determining the dependent variable, we must know how we can collect it, how can it be coded. Now, the way we have coded it, it can give us a direction as to how we can be able to do the analysis at the multivariate level, as to whether we are going LOLS, or we are going by financial performance, or we are going probit, or we are going logit, or we are going binary. So it depends. Some of those factors, you can actually learn them in econometrics. Now, that's that. And on the other part, I want us to understand how we can be able to actually look at the other analysis, which is the thematic analysis. Okay, thematic analysis, or sometimes it is called content analysis. On this one, I will not take you into detail, but I want you to go on YouTube and then check, just to say how content analysis is done, how thematic analysis is done. And then when you do that, I want you to make a comparison of the two, and then with your friend you can actually discuss, so that if you think it could be applicable, you can take it into your study, so that we should see how that can be applied and connected to the quantitative approach. If you can use both qualitative and quantitative analysis in your study, then that particular study, it is called a mixed design. It is called a mixed design. A mixed design study, quanti and quali are corresponding, are done concurrently. So we actually call that one as that. So in this case, two methods are combined to set up the situation in our study. Then last but one, we have got issues like variables. So every variable has to be defined. And for example, if your dependent variable is marketing choices, when now when a farmer has chosen, then is yes, one is yes, no is zero. And then this defines those that said yes. It means that they are the ones that are adopting or that are choosing the choice of that particular market. Then you mention that particular market, and then you can actually say the other variables is like gender, which is male, female, and transgender. Transgender means a combination of the two. And then you can actually have education, like edu. You can actually say edu. Then you can actually say I will take primary, secondary, and tertiary. And then you can actually say I'm taking experience. You can actually say experience in years. So you define in years. And then if you say access to loan, you can say it can be binary yes or no, whether the person has a loan or not, so that all variables that you are using in your study, starting from the dependent to each independent variable, must be defined. And that section is called variable definition, and measure. And it is a must be appearing section in your work. Other than that, life becomes very difficult. And lastly, because you are collecting information about people, it is important that you have or you explain the ethical issues. Now, ethics can be in a number of forms. One major form of ethics, it could be you go and do what is called an informed consent. And we talk of again where you can go for formal review of your study in what is called ethical clearance. So you must be able to do these two processes, so that you are able to understand how things are done. And at the same time, you must be able to know issues of anonymity, don't just and the issues of secrecy, and at the same time issues of authenticity. So these are the major part. That's why on the anonymity, it is not quite a good practice for us to know who the respondent name was, and we must avoid at all costs to associate data with the owner. That is why issues of secrecy comes into a situation. And we have got now the other things of authenticity, authentic. We must make sure that the study is as authentic as possible, so that the issues that can appear to be more complex are controlled in that particular situation. So all these ones are defined in what is called an ethical clearance, and this is the most important point we can look at. Other than that, then we talk of data quality, and I want you even to refer to this point of ethical issues on YouTube, so that when you are coming up with your work, you must explain the ethics that are supposed to be done. So what I want you to do is uh, uh, to come up with chapter 3, which is going to be presented in more detail from a continuation of the topic that you submitted earlier, so that at this moment now we have got 3 inbound chapters which can be combined. So when submitting, you combine the first assignment, the second one, and the third one, and bound them together so that they are quite comprehensive. So this is actually the assignment that I wanted you to submit uh, uh, in the Moodle as it has been indicated on that particular date. So I want you to take a very quick review of the sessions that we have been discussing so that you get to know the things. Now, each and everything that you want to look at, you can check Creswell, John Creswell, for references of that. John Creswell for references of that. And on the same, before I forget, I wanted you to check and download Mendeley, so that each and every reference that you have, it must be inserted in the Mendeley, and you must download it, so that whatever references that you are writing in your work must be originated by Mendeley. So what I want you to do is again to go on YouTube and then learn how to create a reference manager using Mendeley, and how to download Mendeley and insert it on your computer, and how to use Mendeley in your work, so that when submitting now this final comprehensive proposal, I don't want people to submit work that has references done manually. I will not tolerate that. Okay? Otherwise, I thank you. We will continue in now the practicum on how we can present the results, even connect the results into the analysis, so that we can have a comprehensive understanding of the entire research, connecting it well. Thank you.